Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Hey Little Magpie, featuring the Simple Stories Boho Sunshine collection. And I've printed off there 3 photos of my daughter taken a few years ago now, and I'm aiming to create a summery, flowery layout. So I'm going to make a start. So I'm going to use this green paper here. This is called Be Kind as the basis for the layout, but I'm going to tear it. So I'm doing something that always makes me smile. I'm measuring twice and cutting once. It's a sewing phrase, I think. That's where it's originally, dressmaking, I think it's originally from. But that's exactly what I was doing, trying to figure out whether I'm actually going to rip the right amount, because there's nothing worse than making a mistake. So I'm just balancing the photos on it there, and I'm going to rip it. It's not quite a diagonal, but it's wider at the top than it is at the bottom. And the other side is the opposite. It's slightly wider at the bottom than it is at the top. And I like the way these are sitting already on this white cardstock, and it's flat white cardstock. And I'm just bringing in some of these 3x4s, and I'm going to use those to back the 3 photographs. So I'm aiming for a bit of a colour scheme for this layout, so I'm going for greens and pinks, and that is like a terracotta-y pink as well in this range. So I'm going to aim to use those 3. So I've got this paper from the 6x8 pad, and it's got pale pink flowers on it, and I'm going to tear it to make another layer running down each side of the layout. So because it's 6x8, I'm going to do the long piece. I know it's not 12x12, but because of the position of the photographs, I can hide the fact it's not 12x12. So I'm going to rip the long pieces first, so make sure I've got enough for those, and then I can add a little bit in above and below the photographs to make it look like it's one continuous piece of paper. So I'm just checking out my photos there. I'm going to layer those 2 on top of each other, and I'm thinking of tucking the tags in. So I'm just having a look how that actually works. I've cut that sheet of paper up in advance. I've already made one layout from this collection, so if you have a look back through the Hey Little Magpie or my own process videos, you'll find another layout already made with this collection. So I'm just moving things around, seeing how they may look with the tags tucked in around those 2 photographs. If you've watched my videos before, it takes me a bit before I actually ever commit anything to being stuck down. I've also got these lovely flare. There are a number of ranges of flare within Hey Little Magpie, but there's also quite a few that match with this range specifically. So I really would recommend, if you do check out this range, Hey Little Magpie, that you actually look at the flare that Sarah's made that go exclusively with these papers. So I've actually put some of the embellishments together in this tray, ones that potentially would be suitable. So I'm just going through those now. I'm looking for smaller pieces. I'm kind of wanting it to have like a delicate feel. So I really like the flowers with the stalks, so I do think that they're going to make it. And I'm trying to figure out what I want as a title. I do cut this lovely out. It doesn't make the final cut. You'll see why later on, but just checking out the chipboard as well, making sure there's nothing that I've missed. I'm picking things out on colour only really at this stage, just to see what I like. So I'm going to add some mixed media to the background. So I'm just going to secure these pieces of paper together first before I lift them off the cardstock. So just getting that finished now, and I'm going to come in with the stencil, and I've got 3 shades of pink distress ink there and the flowery stencil. The flowery stencil is actually called Daisy's 6x8 stencil if you're looking for it in the store. So I have speeded this bit up because you can actually see what my hands are doing. But I did want to talk to you about the technique I've got here with the post-it notes. So in the past, when I would stencil, I would put washi tape on stencils to mask off the item, the flower, the snowflake, whatever, that I didn't want. And then I would have trouble peeling the tape off later on, because when you were pressing to do the stenciling, I was actually literally welding the washi tape to the stencil, making it tough to remove later on. So I'd found that actually post-it notes work perfectly. I can stick them on the other side of the stencil, covering the flowers that I don't want. I really hate it when you actually accidentally stencil something you don't want or you don't want it there. So I can move these post-it notes around completely. I've used 3 or 4 to the whole time that I'm doing this. I just lifted it up there just to make sure I hadn't missed anything, so that I'd actually caught an edge of a flower, and I hadn't. So I sprayed them with a bit of water because it is distress oxide, and I just wanted it to react. And I waited till it was dry, obviously, and then I'm going to come back in here now and stick the edges back down the side. But I wanted like a falling technique. No, that's not the word I was looking for. Like a falling cascade from the top right to the bottom left, or from the stencil. That's why I mixed the colour up and the shapes. And I'm quite pleased with the way that looks now it's dried. So I think that should really work. But do try the post-it note technique if you are trying to mask off bits of a stencil. Much quicker, much cleaner, I thought. I did use finger daubers this time. I don't know whether you saw those. I just bought those online. I don't tend to use those so much now. I tend to use brushes, but I just thought they could be more specific when I was just trying to ink the little flowers. I thought I'd make less mess and cause less havoc by doing that. So I've used my distress tool, I've distressed the cards, and I've stuck the photographs to them. And I'm just trying to get a bit of the peak of the colours to show around the photographs. So I'm adding foam pads to the left-hand photo there and double-sided tape to the right, just so it's a little bit higher, just to add a little bit more interest. I've cut these words out, "You are my sunshine," from one of the journaling cards that is behind the photo on the bottom left, and I'm just trimming it to look like a tab so that I can actually use it as an embellishment on this page. And I'm probably going to use it with that photo down there on the left, and use that one I've just used as a template up there on the right. Quite like that camera. It's a bit dark, so I'll think about that, but I'm just looking now at the flowers and the embellishments that I want to add to this page. It's a really nice choice, and various different sets of embellishments that comes with this Boho Sunshine. So I do recommend that you check those out. There's definitely a bits and pieces set that I've used here, and then there's a floral bits and pieces as well. I think I also had the journaling bits and pieces, and there is also a simple pages pack, so there's loads to choose from. So I'm just bringing in a punch here now, and I'm going to actually decide whether to put some yellow circles in the centre of the flowers, just to replicate the die cut ones, and I quite like the way that is working, so I do that off camera. So I'm going to just talk about something here. So everything you've seen so far was filmed on one day, and I've come back in the following morning and decided I didn't like the pink flowery paper running down the edges. Obviously I slept on it, made a decision, so I've cut this terracotta-y pink colour from the groovy paper. It was like a swirl, so I haven't got loads of it, but I'm going to use this. I just feel I needed something a bit brighter. I think the pale pink was just kind of merging into the cardstock too much. I don't know whether you ever have a situation where you change your mind, like I've just done. But now I've changed the colour, I really like the difference. So I'm glad I changed that. And that was just because I ran out of time the day before, and when I came back to it with a cup of tea in hand, I decided I wasn't keen. So I'm going to use that paper anyway with the pink flowers on, and I've made 2 tags with it, using just one of the tags from the set as a template, and I'm going to add one behind this photo on the left. So I'm happy with the way that is now looking. I like a little bit of each piece of paper to show, so I'm just getting that ready in that bottom left hand corner, and then I'm going to bring in some embellishments. And I've cut the tops off some of the other tags to stick in around the other cluster on the top right. Obviously I'm still going with the same colourways as I went with before, and I'm giving everything a bit of a distress as well. So I'm just checking both sides, cutting them off, and then I'm going to pop them around the photos to look like there is another layer. And there's a little bit more of that groovy paper here in this dark green, and I'm going to cut out a pretend tag top, and I've just used the punch there to create the hole. Now the holes on the tags that I've made myself, they don't have one of the ring, I'm not sure what you call them. They used to be to, I know what it is, it's a reinforcer. Goodness me, it took me a long time to think of that. So what I've done is I'm using a punch that's specifically to make them. I've added some in a alternate colour so that actually they look like the tags that were from the Simple Stories range. so they don't obviously stand out anywhere. So I'm not going to tuck anything in the tags, no twine or anything like that. So I'm just now thinking about a title. I'm going to take a word off this sheet and I'm going to add it to that tab there with another little flower. So I'm just finding one. I prefer the ones with the leaves, so I'm going to add that there, I think. And I'm just now going to stick it all together and get it finished off. So I'm just adding some foam pads just to add a little bit of dimension behind some of these flowers. So the idea is you've got this diagonal running across the page from the top photos down to the bottom one. My daughter doesn't look this young anymore, so she'll be thrilled to see these photos go online. But with this daisy chain that she's got as a crown, I just thought these are just too cute, and they seem to go really well with the colours in this range, with the flowers and the green in the background. And it's nice to actually scrap more than one photograph for a change. So getting 3 on, I still feel like there's quite a bit of white space. I'm really pleased. So this is the finished layout. So if you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and we hope to see you here again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.